I think we're all suffering from depression and anxiety right now. I think it's kind of a collective thing that we're all dealing with because of the coronavirus, from all the social unrest, all the things that we are constantly worrying about every day. And it's become such a problem, especially with a lot of people who are stay at home authors or who are part time authors, people who have a lot of things to focus on, very little time to do it, and constantly feel social pressure from other people to get those things done in a certain amount of time. I, for one, have been suffering a lot with productivity, with feeling like I'm not getting a lot of things done. And I feel like a lot of my author friends online are also suffering from those same issues right now. Personally, I've had some readers reaching out to me wondering when my next book is coming out and when I'm writing the sequel to another book, or, what's going on? What am I doing? What's taking so long? And for me, it can be a little bit challenging to meet a lot of the expectations that my readers place on me. And that's not to say that I don't appreciate it, because I do, because my readers are what basically keeps me going. They're what gives me a job. They're the people who support me in all of my wild stories that I write down that used to just exist inside my brain as nonsensical chatter. And now they're on paper for other people to enjoy and read and love. So I do appreciate all my readers. I love all the support that you've given me. I love the fact that you do follow my work so closely, and that you're excited for that next book that's coming out. I just wanted to address for other authors, the fact that this is such a prevalent topic right now, that this is such an important topic of mental health and stress and anxiety, and how it affects your physical health as well. I've suffered with mental health problems for a long time. I've had anxiety since I was a teenager, and I've suffered with it to the point where I've had to seek therapy. I've had to take medication. I've had to try alternative therapy. And there have been times in my life where I've just straight up suffered with it. And with quarantine going on right now and not being able to reach out to anybody in my life that I care about or who I would usually use to lean on, such as friends and family, it's become all the more challenging for me to get over my depression and anxiety and not let it rule me and not let it take control of my entire life. My husband also suffers with depression and anxiety off and on. So it's together we have to figure this out. And I think a lot of couples and a lot of people are struggling with the same things right now. So one thing I would just like to tell my fellow authors, to kind of alleviate at least some of that stress that you're going through right now, is that you're not alone in this. I know that depression and anxiety can be very isolating. Couple that with the fact that we're in a worldwide pandemic right now. And, I live in the US, and pretty much my entire country is on lockdown. And so people aren't getting the social activities that they're used to, the human contact. We're not able to hug each other, to laugh and to share stories and to just interact with other human beings. And that can take a huge physical toll on the body. And for me, it was hard for me to realize that at first, because I'm not a very social person in the first place. I am a major homebody. Being a stay-at-home writer, I spend the majority of my life in my apartment, and so I don't really do a lot of social interacting. I definitely am an introverted person. And so I thought, when the quarantine hit, that I was just going to be fine. I was like, all right, this is cool. We'll stay inside, we'll be healthy. Nothing's really going to change for me. But then I realized later on that there's a huge, huge difference between being able to go outside on your own and not being able to go outside because you're not allowed to. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's like when somebody tells you that you're not allowed to do something, suddenly that's all that you want to do. And all of a sudden it's just very isolating. And a lot of people are probably feeling the same things right now. But one thing to know that with depression and anxiety, if you're not familiar with it or if it's something you've never struggled with, is that depression has this funny little side effect that makes you not enjoy the things that you previously used to enjoy. So a lot of times it's really hard to recognize the signs of depression, because something as simple as reading a book or watching TV or talking to your friend, swimming, drawing, anything that you love to do on a normal basis may become a chore. And I discovered that happened to me with writing. Writing is the thing that I love to do most in the world, and it used to just be a hobby back before it became my full-time gig. And I found that in the past couple months, being forced to stay isolated inside my apartment with nobody around me, not being able to talk to anybody, it made me so depressed that I no longer want to do what I love to do. Or, when I do get that burst of energy, it only lasts for a little bit and then it flutters away, and I just find myself watching Netflix again or sleeping until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's not healthy, believe it or not, depression does take a physical toll on the body. I know a lot of people don't recognize anxiety and depression as being physical illnesses, but they are. They're physical illnesses because your brain is an organ, and arguably, your brain is the most important organ in your whole body. And if your brain is sick, then your whole body's sick. And so you need to learn to take control of that first. So I just want to stress to everybody, do what makes you happy. Don't worry about the deadlines that other people are giving you. Don't worry about the pressure that other authors are giving you. Don't compete against other authors to produce more and more books in a certain amount of time, because that is not healthy and it is not going to help you. It is not going to help you through this difficult time. And if there is any time in the world right now for people to understand that you are not being as productive as you usually are, this is that time. People understand, I understand, you should understand that this is not the time to be rushing people for work. This is not the time to be putting pressure on people. And I think the more you realize that yourself, that you are not competing against other people, the healthier your mindset is going to become. And I'm not trying to preach to you, I'm not trying to tell you that, my advice is going to be, the best advice you're ever going to hear. I just kind of wanted to make this video and let you know that you're not alone in this, that we're all kind of going through the same bullshit, and it sucks. And the best advice that I could give to you is do what makes you happy right now. Right now, of all times, do what makes you happy, because it is so critical. And once I get this book out that I've been working on for a little bit, it's probably going to come out in the next week and a half or so. I think I'm going to spend a lot of time doing some reading. I think I'm going to try and focus on my mental health and making myself happy. I know I'm going to do a few book review videos because luckily during this quarantine, I've been able to read about 4 books. I know that is like nothing compared to what I normally read. It's not abnormal for me to read like 50 plus books in like a 2-month span of time. But right now, I've been able to read 4 books this year. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my next video probably in a couple days. I'm going to do a book review on those books, just because I feel like these authors need some major credit for, the joy that they've brought to my life and the escapism that they've brought to me. They've enabled me to kind of jump out of my life for a while and not worry about all the shit that's going on. And I just kind of wanted to talk about them a little bit because they made me happy. And that's all we can ask for right now. What makes you happy? Do what makes you happy. Keep doing what makes you happy. And just focus on that. Don't focus on competing against people, because the only person that you should be competing against is your past self. That was really not so deep, but don't compete against other people. Compete against yourself. Do what makes you happy. I'm rambling now, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here, but I hope you guys are all safe. I hope if you're out there protesting, you're being safe, you have somewhere to go, you have somewhere safe to stay. I hope if you are an essential worker that you are, washing your hands, that you are wearing your mask, that you are, staying safe with all those crazy people out there trying to fight with you. I'm worried about everybody. So, stay safe.